Bow! What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning into the Nick and Mal Show. I am Nick Johnson, one half of the Nick and Mal Show. And in front of me, actually, he's not in front of me. Malcolm is not here today, right? And the reason he's not here today is ironic. So I don't know if you guys have been reading the tea leaves to see what happened with the Joe Budden podcast, right? You guys are familiar with the Joe Budden podcast. They actually have a Mal too. He goes by the name of Maul.
Okay.
He pronounces it incorrectly, obviously, because the correct way is Mal. And apparently they had a little beef. You know what I mean? And we could get into that too, because the Joe Budden podcast is very toxic. And that's the reason I kind of had to stop listening to them. They had a beef, whatever the case may be. I think money was involved. Joe was like, hey, you guys should just take a few episodes off. And maybe you guys never return. So like for the past few episodes, it's just been Joe Budden and his two co-hosts has not been there. Right? And I kind of had to tell Mally the same thing. I'm like, yo, bro, take a few days off because, you know what I mean? You fucking with the bag right now. He's mad because I'm getting 80% of the profits and he's getting 20%.
That's big bucks. That's big bucks.
Do y'all see an issue with that?
That's problematic right there.
Why is that problematic?
I think it's problematic because you guys are partners. And so everything should be 50-50.
Okay, let's make it 50-50. Guys, I'm just joking. Malcolm is on the phone. Mally Snow, what's going on, baby?
He tricked us all. He tricked us all.
You guys were tricked. I talked to the people, man. What's going on?
Put the camera on my guy right now, though. The camera on my son, Litvak.
The camera is on Litvak.
Your camera,
put the camera on Litvak. Go ahead.
Yeah,
that boy shot.
I mean, as long as they can hear me, we good. Big ups to Litvak, man. If y'all don't know Litvak, you're going to know Litvak after this episode. But Litvak's that guy that's been there since day one, so we definitely appreciate that. He's the guy that's watching the episodes, giving you a run-through the whole episode. You understand? If you basically want a description of what the episode means, go read Paul Litvak comments in the YouTube comments. You understand? And that's love, too, because we all know comments, likes, everything help us. So, Paul, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. So, thank you so much. It's a blessing to have you on the show.
Hey.
Mal, I have one quick judgment of Litvak, though. Because he was talking to me earlier and he was telling us he had like a little bit of a bad review about one of our episodes. But he didn't put that in the comment section. You know what I mean? We don't only want to hear the positive Litvak. When you hate some shit, I want you to see you really talk your shit.
Don't yes man us.
Don't yes man us. You know what I mean? If you don't like that, you know what I mean, bang black shit, let us know. Whatever the case may be. Oh, we gonna cut that out. But no. But on some real shit, Litvak, we appreciate to have you here. You know what I mean?
Thanks for having me, guys.
How long have you wanted to come on this show and really talk your shit?
I think from the very beginning, I just really like what you guys do in all seriousness. I feel like you guys take the time to do it all. And I mean, you guys are prepared, and it's just like really cool to see that like your friends are doing things like this and progressing in their lives. And I feel like I could help out, enjoy, and, you know, I like to support you guys. So
1,000%. And
Love. Appreciate that.
That's love.
And you're doing a lot of good things in your life too, which we are going to get in your interview. You know what I mean? This is just a little extra episode we're going to shoot for y'all. But Mally, thank you for joining us, brother.
Man, tell the people, sock it to me.
Sock it to me. Good job, Larry. And when Malcolm comes back, and we're going to have Bala on, we're going to tell y'all why Larry Jr. is about to change the whole music game.
Swear.
But in the meantime, just tune in and listen and catch the vibe, and then we really going to explain to y'all what it is. You feel me?
Swear.
So, Mally, we love you. We appreciate you.
Swear.
And the people look forward to seeing you next week.
Swear.
Bow. See you later, Mal. All right, so can we go back to the Joe Budden podcast thing? Because I have a small bit of a bone to pick with them. And I was telling Mally about this, I kind of had to stop listening to that podcast because I kind of seen the demise coming. Number one, the energy was not where it used to be. You know, like, I'm sure you probably could listen to this. When you hear me and Malcolm speak, you could tell we're real friends. You know what I mean? Sometimes we may argue and fight, but you could tell there's a synergy, there's an energy there. And I could kind of tell on the Joe Budden podcast I was deteriorating, right? But that's not why I stopped listening. They became very hypocritical. For example, the Tory Lanez situation. On Tory Lanez's album, one of the songs starts with them criticizing him, killing him for supposedly what he did, which I don't have a problem with. If you truly believe a man shot a woman in her foot, that is abuse, that is a crime. And if you want to call that man out, fine. But you could look at it both ways. You could deem him guilty before he has a chance to prove himself innocent, and a lot of people had an issue with that. Which now it looks like he might be innocent, right? What does it look like right now between Meg and Tory?
I thought they were beefing. I thought shit didn't look good. But listen, that dude's weird, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He's weird. Why you say that?
Because he's from Canada.
Yes. And that's what DMX said. All the Canada niggas is weird.
Yo, for real. Yo, you saw that video of him? I think he was on Funk Flex or he was on Sway, and he was rapping. He was freestyling. And then he said some bar. He stood up, and they said he was the same height as when he was the same height when he stood up.
He was the same height when he stood up.
He stood up. He's like, oh.
Nah, that shit had me weak.
That is so funny. That's
But
like my
that's
brother.
why he's weird though, because he's short.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know, man.
But so whatever you believe about Tory,
I just
or
never
not,
listened to him.
right? Whatever you believe about Tory or not, right? This is when I stopped listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and I'm sorry to take up time, but I want to lay it out in chronological order. So after the Tory Lanez situation, you could go on my Spotify right now and see the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast I listened to. It had came out that Fabio Foreign was arrested for physically abusing his pregnant baby mother. He was arrested, granted bail for abusing his pregnant baby mother. If those guys, Maul specifically, is coming at Tory Lanez like, yo, you a piece of shit, fuck you, we don't want to hear you, we don't want you in America, right? And then Fabio Foreign, who you have connects with, right? It comes out that he beats up his pregnant baby mother, and your answer to the question is, oh shit, okay. Next topic.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's hypocrisy.
That's what that
And
is.
the thing about them is, bro, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws, right? So if I come on this podcast, I'm going to give my opinion, but I'm never going to act holier than thou. They come and the way they talk is like, yo, bro, we are perfect and we are going to judge people on some shit. Sure, this is a podcast. We're meant to have opinions, but don't I don't know, bro. I don't know if y'all understand where I'm coming
How
from.
are those people famous? How, like Fabio Foreign, like what is he known for?
He's a rapper.
Oh, okay.
You know Fabio Foreign?
Nah.
I never heard of him
He's
either.
actually technically the one I got bow from.
Oh, really?
What's his famous song? I'm not really up on the music scene like that.
Does he do that song with? Is that Drake with?
Yeah, I know,
Viral
like-
movie.
Yeah,
Better
viral.
than the 2V.
Yes, he says viral and movie a lot.
Is that the song though?
That's 5 year 4.
Okay. What was I gonna ask you? And this guy Maul, what's he from? What's he do?
He does the Joe Budden podcast.
That's
He's Joe. Yeah, that's all he's known for. Apparently, he's close to Jay-Z's.
And what's? It's on Spotify.
They used to be on Spotify, and this is another thing, right? They used to be on Spotify, and they had to deal with Spotify. There was this big commotion where, coming down to the end of their contract, they were bashing Spotify every fucking day. And it's crazy,
It's
bro.
like the hand that gives you're gonna shit on it.
Yo, and this is what Charlemagne's point about it, because him and Charlemagne got into a beef because Charlemagne was saying, bro, you're a destructive person. All you do is self-destruct, Joe. Right? When Joe had his show on Complex, Charlemagne said, I'll give it 3 months to end. They made it more than 3 months, but eventually it fucking ended. This is all he does. He self-implodes. So the contract with Spotify is coming to an end. And he's talking all this shit like, oh, we about to get a bag. We about to get a bag. And Joe and Rory and Maul are sitting there agreeing with everything he says. And now it comes out, the money is looking a little funny. And now it's looking like he is violating them in their pockets. And I know that's why Rory is mad. And Rory threatened to fight him on the podcast.
Oh, that's some ego stuff right there, man.
I don't know Joe Budden. What a lot of people say is he's an egomaniac. And I can see why a lot of people think that way.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if this is, I know like in stand-up comedy, they say you never should talk shit about another stand-up. I don't know if it's the same thing for podcasters.
Okay.
But I'm just giving my opinion. This is what I see. You know what I mean? And another thing, and this is going to be my last point about this. They always used to come at academics. Academics is like the Eminem of internet content. You don't want to come at academics. He's going to violate.
Wait. That's funny.
A lot of rappers, Game said it himself. One of the most abrasive rappers. I'm never going to diss Eminem in a song because I do not want Eminem making a diss song about me. Because he will violate. And Academics is that person. Don't come at Academics, bro. Academics is going to make you look bad. He's going to get on live for 50 minutes and just talk shit about you for 50 minutes, and it's going to be one of the most entertaining 50 minutes of content you've watched. And Rory and Maul was coming at him, and he came at the bag. He's like, bro, I speak to these executives. Yeah. Joe is fucking y'all over right now.
Yeah, I can't. He was working with Joe on that Complex show.
Yes.
And that just, you could see Academics was just like, yo, this dude is fucking crazy.
Apparently they're cool though. Joe and Academics are apparently cool.
Oh, okay.
So when Joe was like, and that's apparently another one of the issue because Academics was exposing Rory and Maul. He said, yo, you're cheating on your girlfriend. Joe is volleying y'all with the bag. And obviously they're coming to their podcast with their grievances against Academics. And here is Joe like, yo, I'm still cool with dude. That's like if Mal has a crazy beef with someone, Mal comes on the podcast, tries to shit on them because they violated Mal publicly, and I'm here like, nah, I'll fuck with dude. I don't know what you talking about.
Yeah.
That just doesn't look good.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
I've never seen the podcast. I've never listened to it or anything like that, but I used to like with my girlfriend and stuff, we used to watch like Love and Hip Hop. And so like that's where I knew Budden from, and when he started like hitting his girlfriend and stuff like that, that's when I lost all total respect for him. So I'll never watch anything about him. I'll never listen to his like scrappy ass voice and all that, his bald head. So like I don't listen to any of him, but that's just a respect thing. It correlates from one thing to the next. If he's messed up his girlfriend and now he's messing up his boy stuff, like where's the line that he draws here? He shouldn't even be on cable. He shouldn't be on anything.
He's like a pencil that hasn't been sharpened yet. There's no line with him. That's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know, dude. Was that bad? Was that bad or was that fire?
That's a bar, bro.
Come on, son. Stop playing me. I'm probably a better rapper than Joe Budden, too.
Yeah. Paul Litvak here is a better rapper than Joe
Paul Litvak is a good rapper.
Let's hear something, Paul.
No, that's not happening.
Paul's getting the bag. Talk to him.
You can't start it and just leave it.
Ooh.
You just started a bar. Let's hear it.
All right, let me think. I'm getting the bag. Shorty in the back of the Cadillac coming at me. But I never knew what it was like to be something that I never heard from another century.
Ooh, that boy is fire.
I'm wearing the Nick and Mal OG merch.
But to put a button on this Joe Budden situation, listen, we're gonna button it up. Come on, I'm it. But yeah, I guess what I say is Joe Budden is a very talented dude. I you know what I mean? Doing this podcast thing, he's one of the guys I look up to. But just bad vibes when I was listening to him after a while. A bunch of hypocrisy, a bunch of holier than thou kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're going to tell you why. Like, for example, this dude, Rory, one of his friends, it came out that he was sexually assaulting women at a party they all used to throw together. Mm-hmm. And him coming out and addressing it was just so half-hearted. It was like, bro, either don't say nothing at all because it's your man's, or don't come and give a fake, like, oh my God, I denounce this guy. But it sounds so fake. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're two-stepping, you're backpedaling. So I guess that's my issue with the Joe Budden podcast. I've been wanting to say this because I've stopped listening to them for a while now.
How long has this been?
I've stopped listening to them since they ended their Spotify contract. Maybe the second and last episode on Spotify. Probably a few months. I'm not very good with time.
Okay.
I'm not very good with time. I couldn't tell you.
Speaking of sexual assault, the USC thing.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
There was a gynecologist at USC, University of Southern California, that a bunch of women came forward that were his patients saying that he sexually assaulted them casually. Like, it wasn't even like anything aggressive or anything. They just said he would be doing a routine checkup or whatever, but he would insert his fingers, and they said he was
playing around in some weird way.
In there. Like, and he's like, oh, I'm just looking around. And they were all of them were just like, it was weird. But there was a settlement for $850 million.
Nearly $1 billion.
For all involved.
That was go ahead, Litvak.
So the doctors got 850 mil?
No.
So like, where did this money come from?
Where does that money come from? That's the school's
Apparently,
money.
it came from the school.
Oh, so he was a doctor at the actual school.
For the school.
Okay.
And apparently, as Bala said, he was sexually assaulting a woman, which is, I'm sure, I've never had a pap smear, whatever they call that, but I'm sure a woman would know what is routine and what is not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you also can go and just simply go to another gynecologist and ask him, like, hey, is this what I need to do? Or is this what the doctor is going to be doing to me while I'm there?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it also gets a little inflated there when the doctor's just like, okay, this is what they should do. But I mean, everyone gets different training and all that stuff. So, I mean, I could see the other side of it if I should have been the lawyer for the guy.
That is what they taught me in college.
Yeah.
The little finger move.
So weird, though, man. It's so creepy to think about.
It's very creepy. And I hope that joke wasn't insensitive because by no way I condone this. Like, this is some fucked up shit.
Like, for real, just think about you're getting with a hernia check. Like, the doctor checks your balls and everything, and they just start tugging,
whacking it,
and you're like, "Yo, what? What?"
Yeah, I mean,
that's so weird, man. It's so uncomfortable to think about.
What is the male version of that? Let's say a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
No, ours is the finger in the butt for
prostate.
The prostate. Yeah,
That's not called a colonoscopy.
No, it goes through. Oh, that colonoscopy is this way, and then is it the other way around? Endoscopy is the other way.
I think endoscopy is through your throat.
And then colonoscopy is through your butt.
But it's just a camera, right?
Fact check me, y'all.
Yeah. It's a camera that you got to drink. You got to drink like this specific liquid for a day. You can't eat anything. You really can't drink anything either.
And they spray around shit, or do they just look around?
I'm sure that they look around, but they have to lubricate it to get it through the passageway. Or Nick's favorite word, the sphincter.
Sphincter. My sphincter was low-key loose yesterday. I had diarrhea.
Yo, for real though?
You ever ran into a girl with a loose sphincter?
Nah.
What do you mean? Isn't the sphincter the little...
It's
elastic?
So you got the two sphincters, one that controls the involuntary movement and then the voluntary movement.
Which is the
voluntary is your butthole, and then the involuntary one is the one that's...
So have you ever ran across a girl with a
I'm
loose
confused.
sphincter?
Do I got to draw it out?
So your butthole is called a sphincter.
A sphincter.
That's what it is called.
And then there's another sphincter at the bottom of your stomach that allows food to go into the duodenum, right? If I'm incorrect?
Yep.
Into the duodenum and through the duodenum, small intestine, large intestines, and then it comes out your butt through the sphincter, which is your butthole.
Yeah. Wow. It's like a passageway. It's like a rite of passage.
So now to answer my question, have you guys ever run into a little hussy with a loose sphincter?
Nah.
Okay, good. I'm happy for you guys.
I was gonna say.
What about a flappy labia majora?
What is that?
Nothing. Just go ahead. Go ahead to what you were saying.
What is that?
Go ahead to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Talk about loose sphincters.
Yo. Yeah. Go ahead.
Have you have hemorrhoids at all?
No.
Yo. You?
No, I've never had a hemorrhoid.
Yo,
Nope.
I've been past while now, been dealing with those, and it's like just sitting there, and I'll sitting there, everything's fine, and then I'll just feel like a little itch, and then it's just wet in my butt.
Whoa. So
it's the worst, and I got a wipe, and I got the preparation medicated wipes.
Oh, so
gotta take care of business.
Is your part of your butt actually outside of the butthole?
What?
Isn't that what happens with the
I think it's inflammation and like veiny. It's like a breakout.
It almost looks like a growth, like a growth bump.
And it comes
on the inside.
Out. It comes
it's
out
usually
of the butthole,
like
right?
if it's like your butt, it's on the inside of it. Yeah, it's like where it gets moist and usually like swamp ass kind of occurs.
It's swampy. It's swamp ass, man.
It's uncomfortable.
What do you have to do about that? Like, how do you get rid of that?
I don't know. I've been just using the preparation H and just some medicated stuff. My brother, he's been dealing with it too, and he knows.
This isn't the bloodline, huh?
He knows. Yo, Artie. He knows. I used to talk about it in my stand-up sets and stuff. So I definitely give some lessons on how to handle and what to look for. I say, I thought I was dealing with itchy butthole. Just bad case of itchy butthole for like 2 years, and it turns out it was hemorrhoids. So if you have an itchy butthole, you got hemorrhoids. So get that looked at. But regardless of that, Tiago heard all that. Shout out to Tiago.
Scala. I used to call him Bala, by the way, and then I had to change that up. Bala. You're
That's
the real
me.
Bala.
That's me. But yeah, so he hits me up. He's like, "Yo, what do I get for these?" I'm like, "Yo, go get Preparation H." There's all different types. There's cream. There's like a chapstick looking one. There's the wipes, which is the best bet because it's like just wet wipes basically. So might as well. And there's also ones that you stick up your butt and you just leave them there.
It's like a tampon.
Yeah, basically. And he hits me up. He's like, "All right, I just bought." He sends me. I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna look for what it's actually called," because he sent it to me once. Sent me the picture. He said, "Yeah, they're hemorrhoidal suppositories." And I was like, "What's a suppository?" And I looked it up. I was like, "Dude, you gotta return those, man." And he's like, "Why?" And he looks it up. And he's like, "Oh no!"
Those are the things you got to put in your butt.
You gotta put them in your butt.
So in the hospital, I became aware of those because like certain patients, like if they had like older patients who can't swallow anything, if they get a fever, they put a suppository in their butt to. I guess you could put medicine up there.
Yeah. So the quickest way into your bloodstream and getting through your body is, I actually learned this from Steve-O. You can get drunk and stuff through your ass. Wow. It's the fastest way to get wasted. And they used to do that back in the day because you have no smell when you're drinking. If you get like literally zooted off your ass. So they put it in your butthole, and then you'd be fucking wasted for a long time. Oh, sorry if I cursed.
Is that where the term shot come from?
What?
That is a shot.
I think he's trying to think of shart or something like that, but I don't know.
A shot, like instead of taking a shot through your mouth, you take it to your ass. That's a real shot right there.
I mean, when you get a shot, it's from a shot glass. That's what that's called.
It's a shot. You take a shot of something. I don't know. I disagree with what you're
real
saying.
Quick to that doctor. I was just thinking about it. Can you imagine if he's a practitioner, but he's also an educator, how many people he's taught wrong?
I don't think he taught people.
Yeah.
I don't think he taught. I think he was a creep who was assaulting women. I don't think that's something that he taught.
At some point in your life, you become an educator too. Whether it's just talking to your patients every single day, or whether it's the casual student that you have interning there or shadowing you for hours into medical school. So I guarantee you he has had someone, and someone has picked up on what he did and is probably doing that.
Oh, you mean like someone that was like shadowing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is weird to me because especially for a male gynecologist, aren't you always supposed to have a woman in the room?
I have no idea.
I don't know too much about that, but I feel like it would be the same thing with a male nurse or a male clinician in any kind of aspect of things that's heavily dominated in the woman field. You know what I'm saying? It's a level of respect. Some women, especially older women, like to have women as their practitioners or clinicians, but there are some that really don't care at all. Some find it to be like, oh, this guy looks more like my grandson or nephew or something like that, and I'll respect him more for helping me.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when I was working in my clinic for field work, like I had many women say, "Hey, can you kind of get out of the room?" And I had to go get someone to help them get dressed. They didn't feel too comfortable with me. But there's some that are just like, "Oh yeah, help me with anything." Care. Yeah.
Some older women would make a lot of jokes about it, like, "Oh, you don't want to see this."
You definitely.
You're right. I don't want to see that. But can we address this real quick? I actually wanted to address the mass shootings from this past week. I think there was one on Monday, and then there was one on, what was it? It was the previous week, maybe like 16th? Wednesday or something like that.
I think it was like the 16th and the 22nd, I believe.
So the first one was in Atlanta.
Yep.
Obviously, I think 8 people died. Random guy, you know what I mean? Just ran into, which is weird to me. He went into a spa. Are they referred to as Asian spas? No. I've never been to one of those that was not Asian run or owned. And I don't want to be insensitive. I'm asking a question.
I don't know. I think it's definitely
dominated by them,
yeah,
right?
They take care of business.
Be honest, I wouldn't go to one if it wasn't Asian run.
I've definitely gotten my fair share of pedicures, and they were all in Asian people there.
Okay, so yeah, this guy he killed 4 people in the first place, drove an hour away, killed 3 more people at one spot, and then across the street there was another spot where he killed someone.
Yeah.
And I think he shot a husband, and the husband thankfully survived. His wife passed away. And that was just, you know what I mean? That was just real sad to me.
Mm-hmm. The New York Times posted it. They had like a little blurb, which was kind of, there's got to be more to the story. They literally had a paragraph there that was written in like double spacing. And it was really sad. They said that they're still awaiting charges. There's not a whole lot of information. They're still trying to figuring it out. And I don't know what you would have to figure out. This individual did a crime. He should be in a prison or whatever through the judiciary system.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we waiting for here?
Yeah, what are they? Yo, honestly, I was thinking about this, and we're going to get to the other shooting, but I was like, yo, why do these dudes even go to court? Like, just lock them in a cell and be like, bro, you finna be here for the rest of your life. That's it.
Yeah, do you know how much it costs, though, to be in prison?
How much?
A lot of taxpayer money.
Let's talk about
That's what we're paying taxes for.
Yep, there's a lot. I mean, the United States is the most per capita in individuals in prison. And we spend like hundreds and hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. Don't quote me on it, but with the billion remark there. But there's a ton of people that we have to pay for to be in prison.
Real quick, before we get off topic, do you think there's a solution to that?
Sweden has a really good solution. Sweden they actually do 2 really good things if we want to talk about like the whole healthcare system too. The first thing that they do really well is that they don't have a prison there. It's like a place of land where these individuals can go and they get rehabilitated and they can go and further their community as well. Whether if it was they robbed a store or they killed someone. I mean, an individual messed up, sure, it depends on how much they messed up. It's like a graded kind of thing. But you're never going to have your same exact life, but you can still get better and you could still be a member of society. So I think that's a pretty good system, but I mean, everything's changing now with the marijuana stuff too. So there's like a lot of things that go on. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't think prison is your best answer.
Right.
Because every time someone goes to prison, it's like their life is done. What are they going to work in? They drive a truck or something like that? That's not saying like that's bad or anything like that, but they can't establish a career for themselves because they messed up when they were 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah, that's a crazy concept. That's crazy.
So
imagine being in prison your whole life.
It's crazy. I mean, prison is pretty scary. I forgot who I was talking to, and they said they spent 4 days in prison, and they went crazy. Right? He said which I've always wondered, like, yo, if you're in prison for a year, why do you kill someone? Why do you get into fights to prolong your prison sentence? But you literally go crazy. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Prison, some people definitely learn how to do prison, but you're probably already crazy if you learn how to do prison. Like, you're probably so far gone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they throw you in isolation, and you're just there for
23
weeks.
hours a day.
Oh, my God.
Do you guys ever have this thought of, like, we get to mental health issues, right? And we're going to touch on all of this, because I really want to cover this in a very responsible way. You ever feel like you kind of sympathize with people who are mentally ill because we really can't control where our minds may go? Like, there might be a guy who's 60, depressed, wants to kill himself, and no way did he think that's where he was going to be when he was our age. Do you think you could become susceptible to life, and life could kind of just do what it wants to do with you in a way where you can trip? Or you can have a bad mental break. There might be something like genetic in your family that, you know what I mean? You're susceptible.
Even a traumatic event happens right in front of your face. It just messes you up, man.
That scares me, bro. Like, there's been times, like, when I got high and I started thinking, like, yo, people are fucking crazy. Like, I don't think they control that. I think that's the point of being crazy. You're out of control. You have lost all control.
You ever think, though, that when you say someone is crazy, it might be you that's crazy because you're not understanding what they're thinking?
No, that motherfuckers is crazy.
I mean, I'm with you. There's some people that have some altered state of mind, right?
Yeah.
But they're doing certain things because they think that that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
It's like when you talk to like a dementia person and you're just like, oh, hi, my name is such and such and I'm from such and such. And then literally the next day you have to do that same thing exactly all over and all over again.
Yeah.
So you're the crazy
You're
one
the
to
one-
that.
You're the crazy person that doesn't understand where they're coming from.
So life is all about perspective. Kind of thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Is it? Because one time on this podcast, and I felt really bad for it after I did it. I didn't make fun of a dementia patient, but I kind of talked about my conversation with a dementia patient, which would come off like I'm making fun of them because you know what I mean. Obviously, they repeat themselves a lot and stuff. Was that incorrect for me to do?
No.
Because if my grandmother had, for example, I was saying like she would ask me, "Hey, who are you?" and I'd be like, "I'm your grandson." Granny, you don't remember me? Is that incorrect to play with them like that?
I don't think it's incorrect to play with them like that. I think that if you want to get the most out of them, you kind of have to feed into it because you're gonna have to do it every single day. So enjoy the moment while you're with them.
And they enjoy it too.
Light up right away.
Yeah, like, oh my God, whose son are you? Like, and obviously, I know their daughter's name. They don't know I know their daughter's name because they don't remember that they told me. I'm Becky's son. Wait, what? Becky has a black husband?
Oh my God. They can't even hear right.
And I'm like, yeah, Becky has a black husband.
I think a lot of it goes to it. I think as if I had someone in my family that had that like that cognitive kind of dysfunction going on in their lives, that it'd be very hard for me because I would have to come in every single day, put my best foot forward every single day. And then I would have to do that every single day to get the same response that I know I'm going to get. So it acts on your mental psyche too. Like you as the family member or the individual would get so stressed out, I think. I know that I would 100%. You guys are all different, but I just know that it would be so hard for me.
It's heartbreaking.
And
to see what those people go through, it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And someone you're so close to and you love, and then they don't even know who you are.
Don't remember. Look, we love our parents, right? Because they are our parents. We can have these conversations with them. A big part of the reason why you are close to Nick Falzone is because you guys can have certain conversations and kind of reminisce on certain things. Imagine your mother, the woman who raised you, is sitting there and can't even tell you your name. Heartbreaking. So, as I said, everyone that I've encountered in their close family member had dementia, Alzheimer's, like real late Alzheimer's. They've been depressed. Is Adam Sandler's movie 50 First Dates, is that insensitive? Because they made it seem like this romantic, comedic kind of thing. Is that insensitive?
I think it's nice that's big on what comedy is bringing
fun
light to like a little sadder, touchy subjects where it's like, all right, it's all right to laugh at this right now. It's not everything has to be so gloomy all the time, you know? And with that movie, this dude's going so hard to make this girl with dementia or whatever she's got not live this fake reality that her parents were her dad and her brother were putting her in, this fake reality, living the same day over and over. So I mean, it's nice to see. That's a great movie.
I love that movie, but thinking about it now, I'm like, damn, I could see a family member watching that and thinking it's insensitive. I'm not trying
That's
to...
on them.
Yeah, but...
I think anything's on anybody, you know?
So
however you take something, that's on you, you know?
Now, perfect segue back to the Asian thing. We've all made Asian jokes. Am I incorrect?
No.
Nope.
You guys never made Asian jokes?
I have, yeah.
No, you're not incorrect.
you're-
I'm not incorrect. And I've never thought anything about it. We all know for the most part, I don't agree with this, but you don't make fun of the black community. You don't say racial slurs to them. That's like the general thing, right? I have my own views, but that's like the main thing, especially if you're white. You don't make fun of black people and you don't say certain things where everyone else is free game. And it's because of the history and it's because of the trials and tribulations that the black community still go through. I've never viewed that when I was making Asian jokes. And now with this situation, a guy who was clearly racist, they said they didn't find any motive that it was racist, but come on, you go to fucking 3 Asian spas and shoot this shit up. There's a racial, you know what I mean, factor to that. And I started reflecting back to myself. I was on Trump's bandwagon of, nigga, it is the China virus. This shit came from China, right? I forgot. There's a bunch of different viruses that were named after the places they came from. What's wrong with that? But as you said, it's on people to take it how they take it. Do we bear a responsibility for, if I was a kid making an Asian joke and that kid who killed those people heard me and somehow thought it was cool to demonize or look at Asian people funny, and that led to him to creating the act? Do we somehow bear responsibility for that?
There's definitely a fine line.
There's a fine line, right?
Yeah, definitely fine line. Now that you mention it, bring in anybody who has, like, anybody with any sort of personal involvement in something, and then hearing somebody right next to them say something insensitive about that involvement that they have. Yeah, you'll be like, damn, I don't like that. And you'll definitely feel some type of way.
But even the person saying it didn't have bad intentions, but someone else took it. This crazy motherfucker. Yeah. He took it and put pain on real people, took people's lives. Is it, we stand some responsibility and we should not make fun of any races, including white people? Or is it, nigga, I'm a comedian, right? I want to be a comedian. You've done comedy before. Everyone is free game. If you're dumb enough to commit an act against people, that's on you.
I definitely think it's free game. And I also think that when it comes to a guy who killed a bunch of people, that's different. Especially, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say anything about, like, Martin Luther King getting shot. That's insensitive.
In 100 years, you can.
And George Floyd, in 100 years.
I mean,
and George Floyd. I'm not going to sit here and make fun of George Floyd because I don't want to do that. Because what he dealt with, there's definitely, you got to know your topic. Yeah. Don't be saying ignorant stuff. And the reason why I said in 100
years you can, because we make fun of people that died all the time. There's a certain couple of years that passed that is not insensitive anymore.
Yeah, statute of limitations.
We how much movies do we have of Roman motherfuckers getting their head cut off on the hill and kicking the shit? Like, that's insensitive. That's somebody's mother that got their head cut off. Y'all making fun of this, but go ahead, Litvak.
I think it comes down to 3 points for me, and I wrote them down. The first is respect. So you have to respect the individual. I think you first have to respect yourself enough to understand what you're going to say, and you've thought about what you were going to say. The next thing is that you have to respect the individual, because the way I was taught, you respect yourself, you respect someone else, and that in turn they respect you. If they don't, then you don't talk to them. That's it. It's as simple as that for me. Then the next is the matter of your opinion. We live in the United States where you're allowed to have your opinion. You can go back and forth with an individual. That's awesome. If you didn't want to have an opinion, you go to North Korea, my favorite country.
That's a bar. This boy should be a stand-up.
And then the next thing is, we've talked about this, is that if you overuse a saying, a slur or something like that, and you say it and it becomes in a multimedia facet of life, you also kind of can't think that people aren't going to say it. It's going to come up. But that individual, if they say it, like if I was to start saying the N-word left and right here, like you guys would lose respect for me, number one. And then number two, I show like my, like the evil side of me come out, which isn't like myself. You'd start seeing that my opinion and my respect for you has decreased. I would never do that, but individuals do it because it's in multimedia here. So
you think it's cool. But I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if Lincoln had a lot of white people, but I went to high school with a lot of white guys. All of them said that N-word. And yeah, I'm saying I came from Trinidad, so I never thought there was anything wrong with that. I'm like, bro, you're probably more African American than me. You know what I mean? I'm from Trinidad. Like, I was not raised on this. You feel me? Yeah. So if you can say it, who am I to tell you no? I just came over here yesterday.
In Lincoln High School, where I went for high school, white people were the minority in there, and I was the only white kid on my football team, and you guys know this. They put me in the middle.
That's why you guys were so good.
Yeah, you put the quarterback as the Jew, right? I got put in the middle of every photo. All my coaches were white besides one black guy. Like, that's just how it was. Right. I don't think any of them really cared that I was white or anything like that. It was more like, hey, like, I will respect you. You guys respect me. Like, we're boys. I'll die for you on the field, and I'll die for you wherever. If you need something, call me. I had a lot of them stay at my house because I literally live across the street, especially during Big Apple games and HSPD and all that fun stuff. but it was never like I heard the Jewish comments all the time. I was even saying the Jewish comments about myself to get like an uproar from the boys. You know, sometimes we would have flat practice, so like I would have to stand up and say something. So
it's funny that you say that. David Goggins in his book, he actually said like, when you go to the what was he in the Navy SEALs? It's like it's 99% white people, and half of them are from down south, and we're all in the room. We're gonna die for each other. We all trust each other, love each other. But as a black guy, better be ready for some nigger jokes. That's what he said. Like, but they had to accept that because that's what you're on. If you want to be here, bro, we gonna make these jokes. I love you. You love me. We're gonna protect each other with our lives. And that's kind of the same thing. You was all right, bro. What am I being insensitive about at this point? We're all having fun.
Yeah. I think with Goggins though, like, and in the military and Navy, and then he went to Ranger School, and then he didn't make it through Ranger School. But he's a very accomplished individual. Not to say anything bad about him. He's, you know, his stay hard kind of comments and mantra is incredible. That dude's like mastered his mind. Yeah, he's unlocked more than 10 or 12% that we have of our brain. With that meaning of I'll die for you, it's a different meaning. Like, I'll say that I can die for you, boys, but like those dudes legitimately mean like I'm gonna die for you. Yeah. So their meaning of words is completely different, and it's good that he has the ability to understand who he is as a person, and he knew what he was getting himself into.
Yes. Yes. So just to put a button on this incident real quick, we could touch on the other one. Yeah, I think for me now, my eyes are open. I mean, and we're going to talk about that on the last episode. Me and Bala are about to do a little bit of stand-up soon. Yep. I'm making a lot of racist jokes, but I feel like now I'm kind of, at the end of it, it's a joke. I'm not saying it to be insensitive, but maybe I changed because I literally had a come to God moment where like, damn, you can't just make fun of everybody. Right. You know what I mean? That's really how I felt. Like, this is like a few days after this situation happened. This Chinese guy, and hate crimes are up. That's why I brought up the situation with Donald Trump saying China virus. I don't think Donald Trump was using it insensitively. He was talking about the country China, not Chinese people. But when you're that powerful, you might influence a lot of people who don't have the cachet to understand what you're really saying. And they're like, oh, Chinese motherfuckers, fuck out of here. I've seen videos on my Facebook, a dude ridiculing a Chinese lady sitting on the fucking train. Like, yo, bro, what is wrong with you? Yeah. You feel me? So that's why I say, like, yo, Chinese crimes are up. And sure, the coronavirus has something to do with it. So do we need to be more sensitive with how we speak about other races? I ordered Chinese food to the house, and the guy comes to the door, and he's calling me, right? And he's calling me before he gets there, and I kind of fell asleep. And I pick up. He's like, yo, the card didn't go through. So I had to go get the food, and downstairs, I'm on the phone with the lady at the store. And I'm not going to lie to you. It took me like 2 minutes to give her the number because she wasn't properly understanding what I was saying. Because there was obviously, you know what I mean, like a communication barrier based on her language or whatever. And I kind of got stressed out in the middle of it. And the guy is standing in my face with the food in his hand. I'm like, and then I seen him and he kind of looked at me kind of crazy. And I'm like, wait, was that racist, what I just did?
Wait, what'd you do though?
I was just kind of stressed out because she couldn't understand what I was saying. And I'm like, was that like racist? Because obviously I know it wasn't, but the topic, and I'm doing listening to a lot of videos and understanding where Asian people are coming from, how people make fun of their language, how people make fun of their eyes and stuff like that. And I was just in a real sensitive place, and I'm like, damn, kind of felt what it felt like to be a straight white person. It's like you got to be on your tippy toes, you know what I mean? Like you're not really sure if you should say that or do that. Was that a little bit off? You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and definitely once you get the thought in there, and it just snowballs, and you can't stop thinking. Were you thinking about it throughout the rest of the night? It seems you're still thinking about it.
I was sure I was racist that night. Might as well go get a MAGA hat now. Not that MAGA supporters are racist.
Nah, but there's a joke. I was watching Seinfeld, which is my favorite show ever. I'm sure you could love it because it's very Jewish.
Yeah. Here come those jokes.
No, but he was saying he broke up with his girlfriend, and then he got back together with her, And he was like, "Oh, I was kidding when I said all that stuff." And she's like, "Oh, but jokes have some truth to them."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "No, they don't. What about that one joke I said about the terminally ill cancer patient who went 8 states away to get his favorite piece of pie at this diner, and then when he got there, they didn't have it, and he said, 'All right, I'll just deal with the coffee.'" He's like, "There's no truth to that. There's no truth to that." That's not verbatim, but that's close to what he said, and
Was Seinfeld a good show?
that's my favorite show ever.
Andrew Schultz didn't be shitting on that.
Really?
I've never really sit down and watched a full episode, but it looks a little corny to me.
It's genius.
Really?
It's so calm, but it's just genius. Genius.
It's so
simple.
Do you think they go for the type of slow, corny type vibe?
Yeah.
But they're genius within it?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe so I have to look at it through those lenses now. And
They'll
maybe,
be sitting there, and he'll say, "What'd you do yesterday?" She says, "Nothing." And he goes, "Yeah, I know you did nothing, but what'd you do?" She goes, "Nothing. I sat down and I stared." And he goes, "That really is nothing." And then they're just on to the next topic. It's a show about nothing. Nothing goes on. It's just these people.
Wait, that's really what it's about?
Yeah, it's about nothing. That's what the whole basis of that show is. That's what they stand by, is that it's about nothing. They'll be sitting in the coffee shop talking about their relationship, and then he'll go, one dude goes to a therapist. They're just living their lives, but they're all just dickheads. That's a great show.
I really like the point that you said about jokes.
Yeah.
And I think jokes actually show your true side.
Okay.
Because you're willing to come out and say certain things and try to make it funny. And some people might take it as funny, but some people might not take it as funny.
Right.
It's just like when you're drunk and you say some things to someone that you kind of might not have said if you were sober.
Yeah.
So I think jokes and getting drunk are almost kind of synonymous in the two.
Yeah, yo. So I like, great point. I never realized that. Like, I be trying to write my little jokes. Obviously, I'm not a professional joke writer, but in the moment, I be thinking some shit is funny. Then I go back when that energy is not there, and I look at it and like, this is the most offensive shit I could have ever written in my life. You've never done that before?
Not offensive, but definitely. I don't
like
know.
pushing the edge. I like living life on the edge.
Nah, I
feel
got
like-
this one offensive.
I feel like offensive jokes at some point will make someone so uncomfortable that they laugh because they're so
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
That's the thing. You build up tension, right? That's the thing with stand-up. You build up tension, and then you break the tension with the punchline. So, you know what I mean? Let's try to really push the edge, really push you on the edge, and then pull you back in.
I got this joke about I'm talking about my butthole, the hemorrhoid thing. And then
I see your topic scheme.
And then I say, speaking about assholes, I got these couple friends that go to church every Sunday.
That is not nice.
Nah, it's funny.
During the medieval times, Christians were persecuted for their religion. Jews were that's insensitive.
Wait, who was persecuted?
People for their religion. That's insensitive to
guy's
make fun of people. Is that not insensitive to call people that's going to church assholes?
I mean, it's like your
At
comments
this point-
too about everything. I feel like
I'm an offensive person.
exactly. So it's fine. It's just the way that you have to take it. It's your opinion. I think.
It's funny though.
Lastly, before we get out of here, let's address the Colorado situation. Obviously, we know a guy walked into a fucking supermarket, which is so, you know what I mean? Any one of us could have been in that supermarket, bro. Killed 10 people. Was it 9 or 10?
One of them was a cop. I know.
Yeah,
for sure.
9. And I think that, let's see, the cop's name was Eric Talley. You know what I mean? He was the first person to respond to the situation. Unfortunately, his life was taken. I'm sure it might be an honorable way for a cop to go.
Okay, yeah.
It is,
I
right?
feel like it.
To die in the line of duty, protecting and
badge.
serving. For real. And apparently they did this real cool thing where they took his handcuffs off of him, his deceased body, and put it on the guy and made sure that he was arraigned in those handcuffs because apparently it's like a symbolic thing if a cop dies on a job to use his handcuffs those one last time.
Have you ever seen one of? Sorry to cut you off. Have you ever seen what a cop or a military funeral looks like?
No.
It's probably one of the most like prolific events to happen. Yeah. So
With someone who died in duty?
Yeah. So when a military personnel dies, and they have their dog tags and all that stuff. They give it to the family, obviously, but the body returns, and they have at least like hundreds and hundreds of people that show up to the funeral. They give the American flag to their parents, and they have it in a nice plaque. But it's like a 4-hour kind of process. Yeah. And the same thing happens with a cop. They stand there, they shoot the guns out. It's just like you've seen in any probably movie where a cop passes away. It's a very symbolic moment.
That's dope, as it should be.
That's
that's where the taxpayer
waste of
$4.
That's a waste of 4 hours for me.
I mean,
nah, but
for the people
doing anything for 4 hours
exactly.
is a long time.
That's why I hate church.
That's why I hate this podcast.
But so apparently condolences to everyone that was affected by that. And the thing is, we're going to talk about the people that died. There's a lot of people there that's going to be fucked up for the rest of their lives. There are a lot of people who
definitely
can't go to a grocery store anymore. Could you imagine not being able to go to a grocery store anymore without looking over your shoulders?
Years of therapy.
Therapy, bro.
Dollars spent on therapy.
Yo, people that was there the day before. Yo, I could have... I was supposed to go there and my mother told me, no, let's go to somewhere else. There are so many people affected by that. Not only the people dying, but listen, condolences to all y'all on some real shit. Now, they're saying that the guy is mentally ill, which I have no doubts that he was, right? And I think we all bear responsibility in the game of life, right? So apparently, while he was playing, he was a wrestler in high school. Apparently, one of the nicest guys, but he would have these crazy anger outbursts. And one time, he told everyone in the wrestling team, "I'm going to kill all of y'all. I'm going to kill all of y'all."
That's red flags.
Red flags. Should we now report people like that? Should we have them seek help? Like, if you hear someone saying shit like that,
I don't know, because I definitely encountered countless people like that. High school, working, all these people that are just, you could just feel the tension inside of them and the anger and all that, and the way they talk to people. Just last week, I was at work, and these dudes were working with. They were working over there, and they're making fun of this one kid. And they're making fun of his name. They're, like, putting silly names together for him. He's like, "That's not my name!" And he yells like that. I was like, I gotta get out of here.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That dude's
I think they need to set aside a few $1 billion, build like a real beautiful island, and anytime someone has any red flags like that, hey, I'm about to go report your ass or whatever that, and send you. It's like a vacation. We're not putting you in prison because you haven't done anything wrong,
right?
But you need to seek some help.
You need to go sit on the beach.
I'm not playing with no crazy motherfuckers anymore, because even the guy that did the Nashville bombing in Tennessee on Christmas Day, so many fucking red flags, bro. His girlfriend told the cops, "Yo, this nigga's building a bomb in the RV." The cops knocked on the door. He wasn't there. Okay, let's go home. There's nothing here to be suspicious about. How about checking the fucking RV where he's building the bomb at? You know what I mean? And I think responsibility is, everyone needs to learn the story. Responsibility is on us now to, even if I have a friend, if Mally was to come here and say some crazy shit, bro, I'm about to report your ass.
Yeah, I think
to protect you from yourself and to protect other people.
I think that last point is probably the best point. That I literally was going to say that too. It's you have these individuals in your life, whether they're friends, peers, or whatever, that need to check you a little. And when you say interesting stuff like that, you need to be like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Let me sit down with you and talk it out," because that just conversation could instill some kind of like help or the ability to come get some help just from you or a therapist or something like that, and then you move on from there. You don't go to a place to buy a gun and then you start shooting up a place.
Yes.
There needs to be, in my opinion, there also needs to be like a psyche eval that goes on when you get guns or things like that legally and go through like that. There needs to be more.
But there is, but how? Bro, people are like Casey Anthony. This bitch was a textbook. What do they call those people? Sociopath. She learned how to act as a regular person, but she was anything but regular. Yo, bro, she is such a good liar, right? And not to get off topic, when her daughter was initially like reported missing, she told the cops, "Listen, hey, I used to work at this there was a babysitter that was taking care of the kid, and she kidnapped the kid from this job that I had in whatever this big building, and she used to work right next to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so take us to the building. She literally walked the cops into the building and then turned around and said, "Oh, I was just lying. I never worked here. There was never a babysitter or anything like that." And the bitch still got off.
Yeah, she
started off the entire thing with a big ass lie.
Yeah.
And somehow she got off.
Yeah.
Because you know why? There's this YouTube channel called Jim Can't Swim. What they really look for when you're being interrogated is psychological cues. For example, I think it's called American Murder on Netflix. The guy who killed his wife and his 2 daughters. You see the video when the cops initially press him and they're just calling out red flags. And that's what Jim Can't Swim does. Because he used to be like an interrogator and you could be like, look at the way he's fidgeting. That's a clear act of, you know what I mean? Simple shit like referring to your dead daughters and wife in the third person. I really hope they're okay. Your dead wife and kids? You don't hope Becky is okay? Oh, I hope they're okay. That little shit like that, they really break you down. And this bitch, Casey Anthony, was such a fucking psychopath that she was so calculated. She knew how to act like a regular person at all times.
That's a psychopath.
They said she didn't have friends and stuff, and she learned how to act like a regular person. So there was nothing on record from her that they could point at, like, this doesn't seem like a lady that just lost her daughter. No, everything was intact because the bitch was a psychopath. You feel me?
There's all these articles and magazines and books and just written, published work by psychologists or individuals that interrogate other individuals that it's indisposable. We can literally get it today if we wanted to. That an individual who has half a brain could read all that stuff and practice everything that they say. There's like a guideline on how to be a killer.
Really?
And you could learn how to do everything. Yeah. It's just like you going to YouTube and you learning how to cook. It's the same exact thing. It just might not be in a video. It might just be in a book. In a book.
That shit is crazy.
You ever watch Dexter? That guy knows how to kill people.
Really?
Take your notes, people. Take your notes. I'm not encouraging murder.
Killing. Unless I will get this too on the last
Unless
podcast.
you have thick glasses like Paul.
But
not this Paul.
But yo, check out Jim Can't Swim though. It's one of the more interesting YouTube channels, right? And let's put a button on the mass shooting and then start Paul's interview. But there was this one video where a lady, she killed her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend 20 years ago. She was a cop herself. Somehow it was a cold case. They got a lead. I forgot what the exact thing that tipped off was. And they called her in like they were about to ask her about a case that she was working on as a cop. Not knowing that she's a suspect in a 20-year-old murder case. She comes, she sits down and says, "Hey, what's up, guys? Like, what's going on?" First question they ask you, "Do you know such and such name?" And her face fucking lit up. Imagine getting away with a murder for 20 years.
Thinking,
woo! Yo, dodged a bullet.
I'm good. And then 20, you're not even thinking about it.
Dodged a bullet. Her face lit up and she froze up like a fucking, like one of Clean Your System smoothies.
Those things freeze up.
Oh, they freeze up. You put the little ice in there, the little frozen fruits. But so yeah, and so back to the shooter. Now they're pleading mental insanity. Do you think? I don't understand this rule where because you're mentally ill, you're not liable for a crime. I think you should be in prison for longer if they find out you're mentally ill. I sympathize with your crazy ass that your mind took you there, but I don't give a fuck. If I ever become crazy and kill 100 people, nigga, lock me away for life. Lock that motherfucker away for life. Do y'all agree with, this person was mentally ill, so they should not stand trial for the crime?
I don't agree with that, but I also think that I don't agree with like not calling these individuals terrorists. Like they should be classified as a terrorist. You're causing uproar in a community. You're making these a racial and a racial crime.
What's a racial means?
Racial.
Oh, racial.
Yeah, you're making a lot of terrible and insensitive actions go on, and so you should be classified as a terrorist. There's different laws that go for terrorism. Like this individual should be, both of these individuals, not just this dude who's Muslim who killed people in Colorado. These two individuals should literally be like not even prison. Their lives should be taken from them.
But is a terrorist somebody that's doing these things for political gain?
That's what they deem terror as. Some sort of extremist, like ideology has to be attached to it.
I mean, it can simply be seen with Asian Americans.
Yeah, that's definitely
True.
Absolutely. You know,
you're self-acting terrorists. You believe you create your own.
Yeah, you don't have to be from a specific country to do it. Like,
no, not at all. Not at all.
Don't have to be. Listen though,
and there's levels to the political
absolutely
agenda there.
Perfect word, political agenda. I think it was so insensitive when Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, politicians came out and made this a political thing. I get there's a debate between gun laws, having guns, not having guns. It's like the abortion debate. There's never going to be a settlement. Some people feel one way, some people feel another way, and if we were all honest, we would be like, I get both sides. Everyone would be like, okay, I'm against guns, but I get why they would like to have it. I hated the fact that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, other people in the Senate, Nancy Pelosi, used it as a pulpit for their political agenda. It was kind of insensitive to me. You know what I mean? Like 10 people just died. Like, let's not. I don't know if this is stupid to say because they were killed with guns, but let's not get into a gun debate. Let's mourn the loss of these people. If a gun, and I'm not pro-gun or I'm not anti-gun. Gun is a gun. It's just one of those things that's been around since I've been alive. Pow! And it's going to be around from the day that I died to the day I die. You know what I mean? And it's like for you guys to use this to get your political agenda across, I think it's idiotic. I think it's disrespectful to the people that died, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, like if guns didn't exist, crazy people would find another way to kill someone. And there's also the argument that if this was, I don't know what the gun laws are like in Colorado. And maybe what I'm about to say is a little bit insensitive. But if you were in Texas and there was another guy with a fucking pistol or AK, maybe only one person would have died. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is there's always two ways to look at it. Don't use this as a pulpit for your political agenda.
Yeah. I think every time when a gun situation occurs, it's like, okay, we need to make stricter gun laws, this, that, and the third. Whereas I think it's a perfect time to start investing more in your community and working with your community leaders to establish more ways to get people help or to learn more about your community.
Yes.
You're wasting time on creating stricter gun laws. Stricter gun laws cause problems in Chicago. Chicago kids start shooting up everywhere and everything like that goes on.
Guess what? Guess who don't give a fuck about gun laws? A nigga that's going into a grocery and killing, he don't care about no laws. Yeah. Who the fuck is a gun law going to help in that situation?
Yeah. The stricter you make things, the more people oppose it. It's like simple math here.
Guess what?
People die in prison from guns. Like the inmates shoot up each other too. It happens all the time. That's a secure facility.
Strict? Heroin. You know how people still use heroin?
So many people.
A lot.
Where I'm from, it's big time over there.
And the thing is, me saying this right now sounds like I'm pro-gun. I'm not. I'm just saying that it's one of those arguments that is 50-50, and we should not bring it up when a situation like this happens. Because it's just you trying to be tribal for your side.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should use people's death as a stepping stool to get that off. Last thing about this, and we're going to close it up. You guys will watch the Joker, right? The recent one?
Yeah.
And so apparently this kid had the Joker story, you know what I mean? He came from another country. He was a little awkward. He was bullied a lot. And that kind of drove him insane. Like I said, I don't sympathize with a killer. I sympathize with mentally ill people. Do we bear more responsibility? I've said responsibility a lot as a community to push more anti-bullying. And for the reason of saving those 10 lives. Right? Let's show these kids, listen, when you bully someone, this is what can happen.
I think it not only bullying, but the environment, not school-wise, just your environment in the household. You know, your parents could be batshit insane. And then that's just how you think the world is, looking through their views, because their parents' were from the war, were in World War II and living that life, and then they come back to the States and God knows what's going on. Everybody's having babies. Everything's dirty. Every Vietnam hits, and just everything.
People are fucked up.
People are crazy.
Mentally ill people are
and then
raising mentally ill people.
And then they're raising children with these crazy, racist, conservative-ass views.
How do we attack that, though? Is it a way to attack the
I
way
think
a
we're
family
working on
brought
it,
up?
to be honest. I think we're making good steps with our generation, maybe people a couple years older than us, too. Definitely people see the flaws in these, what do they call it? Generational flaw. I don't know, like generational flaws. But we're definitely seeing those, and we're working on it. So, I mean, with all these protests on Black Lives Matter and stuff, like, I'm not going to say my opinions on Black Lives Matter. I think black people, I am best friends with Mally, with Nick, Jay West, Skrilla P. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, look at my black friends. I'm sitting here saying, I think Black Lives Matter. But I think the organization of Black Lives Matter is a crazy organization.
I was thinking about this too. Like I said, like with the hate towards Asian Americans, it got me thinking, like, are we responsible for making sure that nothing we say is perpetrating hate? And I can't help but believe, as a black person, I've naturally indoctrinated to believe in Black Lives Matter is right. But what if that kind of offends some people, that causes them to act out badly? Should we be putting that out there? Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but if you're willing to say a point, you have to also be willing to accept that you're gonna
the
flaws of it and how people react to it too.
So Black Lives Matter. There we go. Thanks for answering that question for me. But all lives matter on some real shit though. Maybe you agree that all lives. Did we see that with the Asian community? We see that with. I think even like, I mean, no one was going to want to address this, but maybe there's certain white people that go through bullying for their skin color. I don't agree with that either. So Black Lives Matter, yes, in the true sense of the term, not as a rebuttal to Black Lives Matter, all lives do matter. Right. I think that was the reason with all lives matter, is that it was a rebuttal to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But in reality,
all that was crazy talk.
Yeah, but let's leave that in 2020.
That was crazy stuff.
Let's work towards actually creating an equal society that black people, unfortunately, do have some lapses behind based on our historical, you know what I mean, being in America. But at the end of the day, we want an equal society.
Right. And I was like rambling before with the Black Lives Matter thing. We're definitely on the right path to making progressive moves and all that.
Should we indoctrinate kids with no bullying? This is, and we're not doing it to even sympathize with the killer. We're doing it to save lives.
Kids are gonna bully,
but
people are gonna bully people. They can't avoid it.
Should we punish bullying a lot harsher than we do? Because, for example, you bully a kid, you make the kid cry, make them feel depressed. What, you might get suspended for a week or 2 days, or even just flogged in the principal office. Flogged. I used to get flogged a lot in high school.
Hey.
Flogged is like whooping, right? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Should we
went to a nun school, that's why.
Even though I actually went to the only school in Trinidad that was both a public school and a Catholic school. It was called the PSRC, Public School Roman Catholic, but whatever the case may be. Should we increase the punishment for kids bullying? Because it seems that with all these different guys, they all say, listen, I was bullied. And other people around them say they were bullied. Like all these guys' friends, the killer in the Colorado incident, they weren't sympathizing with him, but they was like, yo, the nigga was bullied. And he was kind of a normal kid. He was bullied so much for the way he spoke, for his name. He has a funny ass last name, how he looked, and he kind of went into a shell and kind of became a completely different person. Not that we're sympathizing with a guy who killed 10 people, but can we do something 10 years behind to make sure those 10 people don't die? Because at the end of the day, that's the correct goal.
For me, bullying needs to happen.
I agree.
It kind of weeds out the kids that are the weaker kids, and the kids that are moderate, and the kids that are stronger, that are willing to say something to the bully that's kind of attacking that the weaker kid. I think bullying is almost like the same thing as someone getting like a social participation trophy because you competed in a Kings Bay football game.
Not bullying.
I think that if you are the one that's getting bullied and you're not saying anything at all, it's just like you getting a social participation trophy. it's okay if you get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
It's going to teach you that I don't like this feeling of getting my ass whooped. I'm going to figure it out by asking a coach, asking a dad, asking someone in the community that resembles a fatherly figure or a motherly figure. It doesn't matter. And then you're going to figure it out from there.
So how, as you said, it weeds out the weak kids, and we want to have. We're all going to be fathers all day. I'm sure we all hope to have male kids. Mm-hmm. We all hope to become strong men. Mm-hmm. But what about those little kids like this one who decides that they're weak and they don't have the strength to stand up to it? And they decide the strength that they're going to exhibit on the world is grabbing a gun and killing a bunch of people because that's the only how they can feel strong. If we agree, because I agree that bullying builds character. Mm-hmm. It built my character. I'm sure we were all bullied in little ways, and it built us up, even by our family members. You're from an old school Italian family. I don't know how Jewish families are, but I'm from Trinidad. We get bullied. Mm-hmm. I know Italian parents are reckless. You get, but I was called fat. I was called the F word, the other F word by my own family. But it builds character. Mm-hmm. How do we address the kids that decide that they can't take bullying? If we agree that it's necessary, or is it just is it like the speeding? Is it like if we were to Andrew Schultz said this? I'm not going to take credit for it. If we were to reduce the speeding limit to 10 miles per hour, there would be no car crash deaths a year. None. There would be 0 people that die from car crashes. But we kind of chalk it up to efficiency. Like, you know what? I don't care if a couple of people die. Because I want to get to Albany in 3 hours.
Go ahead. In 3 hours. I just think no matter what, as you grow from when you're born to where we are now, you're going to deal with people who don't like you, who have something to say about what you got going on. No matter what, there's no avoiding that. And I think we need to teach the people who are the victims to figure out, like you were saying, figure out how you want to feel as somebody. Mm-hmm. We got to learn.
How will we helping them?
How are we?
Yeah, how are we helping them? You're telling them to go figure it out, but who's telling them to go figure it out?
That's when you invest in your community more.
Okay.
There's not enough investing of your community. There's not enough parents that are just like, okay. For example, I'll get back to my point. How many times have you heard, oh, my parents work all the time. They don't really have too much time for me. Like, that happens all the time. There has to be an individual in your life that you look as a community leader, a father figure, a mother figure that you can go to and be like, hey, I'm struggling here. This is what's going on. Can you help me? But there's also going to be kids that don't want the help. It's just like in every facet of life. People don't want the help until it's too late. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to study for a test 2 weeks before. Instead, they're going to be like, the night before, I think I know everything. And you come in that Friday and you get a 30 on the test. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And big, strong communities definitely help. People get together. They working for a team goal, I guess you could say. And once you're a part of the team, like everybody's, for the most part, on the same page, trying to reach that goal. And, but, dang, I forgot what I was going to say.
I got a point too.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Put the kid on a sports team.
Yes.
That is the best way to, number one, build a ton of friends. And then you could start building brothers or sisters, whoever you want from there. And then you start having these individuals, coach-like individuals that are going to be there for you. Whether it is for 3 hours a day, whether it is for 7 hours a day, whether it's a text once a month to check in how you're doing in college.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I just thought you said the most genius shit.
Thank you.
I was going to pose the question of, let's check to see if any of these mass murderers have been on sports teams. But the guy in the Colorado shooting, he was on a wrestler, you said.
Oh, he was.
But wrestling, that's a gay sport. Does that count?
Yeah. Wearing tights.
A bunch of men holding you down and trying to make you tap out.
Yo, yeah, hype. Yeah, hype. You better sign up right now.
Homo. No, I'm playing.
The real quick on the Schultz kind of thing, I wrote it down. Germany has no speed limit, and they have significantly less car crashes every single year that result in deaths.
They also produced Hitler, so I'm not surprised.
who was a Jew, by the way, but
facts.
I mean, that's psychological, right? A lot of people hate things about themselves, and then they go above and beyond too. Like, we know the gay men that wear the beards, which is like, you know what I mean, they're the most homophobic people But it's all because they want their sphincters opened up a little bit.
That's a callback right there,
That's a
boy.
callback. Yo, we should end it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we about to get into the Paul Litvak interview. We thank you guys for joining this conversation. Continue to support the Nick and Mal Show. Mally, sorry that we couldn't have you here.
I'm going to do it for him.
Do it, go ahead.
Spada.
Bow!
Yeah. Ever told on a nigga? Nope.